is pursued. And you know what? It doesn't really matter if the policy is pursued by Fianna Fáil or if it's pursued by Fine Gael. The net effect will be the same. So in this election, we're saying to the people of Waterford, stand up for yourselves. Stand up and be counted and say, I will not pay for the mistakes of the corrupt and the greedy. We're Republicans. People often say to Sinn Féin, well, what is it that you want? Let me tell you what we want. We want the Republic. Every Easter, politicians and others of every stripe recite the proclamation, the poetry of it, the idealism of it, the vision of it. A true republic that cherishes its citizens, that shares its resources, that understands Ireland's historic place in the international arena. They recite this very often without a glimmer of understanding as to how ironic it is, because with every line they recite, they show up the failures of this state. The proclamation is almost like a to-do list here in 2011, because we don't have the Republic. Our economic meltdown is a symptom of that. The loss of faith in our political institutions is a symptom of that. And I believe it is only Sinn Féin and a Republican outlook and a Republican policy that can deliver a decent and fair Ireland where each of us and our children have a fair and decent chance. This campaign will be very competitive here in Waterford. I think we all know that. People will be listening to media analysis. Some will be watching the polls, and there's going to be plenty of those. The ups, the downs, the swings, and the roundabouts. For us in Sinn Féin, for our supporters and our activists, we need to steer a steady course. We need to understand and believe in and argue for the type of change that we wish to see. And we also have to have the confidence that we do have the alternative, that we do have the answers, that every politician is not the same, that the political parties are not all the same, and that republicanism and Sinn Féin offers to people an alternative, not just here in Waterford, but indeed across the country. Fianna Fáil are sorry. Micheál Martin said so. They're sorry. Well, let me say this. The same Fianna Fáil that says it's sorry will also argue in the course of this campaign that they are sticking to their guns in terms of the 4-year plan, their support for the IMF in Ireland, and their absolute determination to mug people on low and middle incomes. They're sorry. That's some kind of an apology, isn't it? We're sorry, but we wish to continue with the same. We're sorry, and if it comes to it, the same Fianna Fáil will support a Fine Gael-led government that pursues the same policy. They say sometimes that sorry is the hardest word. I'd say in this context, sorry is the cheapest word. And sorry isn't good enough. Say that to the family who have waved their young people or their older people off to Australia and to Canada and to London and America again. Sorry isn't good enough. Tell that to the people who can't meet their ESB bills, who worry every night about meeting the mortgage repayments. Sorry is pretty hollow to them. So let Fianna Fáil accept the responsibility for their actions in government. And if they're sorry, if they're truly sorry, let them come out and tell people, chapter and verse, the mistakes they made. Let them explain to the people their cosy relationship and their rounds of golf with big bankers. But above all, let them not insult the intelligence of the people by suggesting that we can get out of this mess by pursuing business as usual. We've a big opportunity here, a big opportunity in Waterford to return to Sinn Féin TD. Big opportunities right across the state. And of course, I and we want to see the maximum number of Sinn Féin TDs walking into the Dáil. But this isn't just about bums on seats. This is about positioning ourselves, the voice of the ordinary working people, in a position where we can argue for and defend the rights of working people and their families. And we're committed to do that in government or in opposition. Every single vote for Sinn Féin is a vote for a strong voice for change in politics, change in economics, and in the longer term, it is an assertion of our demand for the Republic. We want it. We want all of it. And we know for certain sure that we can have it. I always noted in different debates, it happened during Lisbon, you'd be with the great and good arguing the toss on whatever issue. And periodically one or other of them would stand up and use the old refrain, well, you know, thank God we've grown up as a country. I think you all know that one. We've matured. It always got under my skin. So on one particular occasion, I challenged the person of this view and said, well, tell me what that means. Does that mean that the women and men of 1916, those that drew together the democratic programme, the Republican programme for this country, were somehow not grown up or a little bit immature? The person, of course, then backed off that claim when it became so patently ludicrous to suggest that. We need to reclaim that dream. We need to say very clearly that not alone will we tolerate the shoddy, third-rate politics that we've endured for the past decade and more, we also need to set our sights high, set the bar high, and say we want the Republic. Equality for citizens, decent incomes, fair play, work, opportunity, and a real sense of pride in who we are, where we come from, and where we live. I've lost count of the number of times in my own area that people have said to me, you know, people who died for this country would be turning in their graves. Sometimes that's nearly a cliche. I think in this environment people feel that very deeply. A very deep sense of betrayal. And maybe none more so than people who in goodwill went out and voted for Fianna Fáil. To that group of people, and it's a large group of citizens, we need to say, whatever you have done in the past, it is surely now clear to you, as it is clear to all of us, that that approach, the gombeen, sleeveen, slick politics has failed us. Now is the time for real republicanism, a shift from May Féin to Sinn Féin, the common good, not the vested interest. And I believe that David Cullinan, as a TD for Waterford, can bring all that is best in a Republican public representative. If elected, and I believe he can be elected, David will take home the average industrial wage. That's what all of our public reps do. David represents not just change in bringing a Republican view to things, but also a generational change in terms of the politics of Waterford. He's in his early 30s,